Hey guys, it's Destiny, and in today's video, we're just going to be going over some tips that I recommend for beginner players and any players of Honkai Star Rail. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. So for my first tip, I would recommend that you guys do not convert your Stellar Jade into standard tickets. The reason why this is because the game will give you a decent amount of standard tickets on its own, and converting it with your Jade is not really the best idea because your Stellar Jade can primarily be used for the limited character banners. We don't really get too much limited tickets throughout the game, and the main way for us to be able to pull for these limited characters is through Stellar Jade. You absolutely will get way more standard tickets. I know you guys may be tempted just the fact that we do have the beginner banner that is coming up. The beginner character banner is only 40 standard pulls to get your first 5-star. This is a really good banner, but I personally would not recommend using any of your Stellar Jade on this banner. By the time you are Trailblazer level 15 in the game, you will be able to get enough standard tickets in order to basically ensure your first 5-star on that banner. So if you do just play the game for a little bit, you'll be able to get enough, and then all your leftover Stellar Jade could be used on the limited character banner, or you could save it for a future character banner. So basically, just don't convert your Jade into standard tickets. I just personally really do not recommend it since we get enough standard tickets as is, I feel like, throughout the game. Another tip that I have is to be resourceful with your materials in the game. By this, I mean the talent materials, the level up materials, all the materials in the game. The reason why this is, well, I learned this personally through Genshin Impact, and when I played the CBT3 of Honkai Star Rail, I do believe the same applies. If you try to level up too many characters and use too much of your mats at once, then you won't be able to have enough mats to level up characters to levels beyond and able to beat some of the content in the game. So let's say you level up all your characters to level 20, but you really want to have now a character that's like level 30, level 40, but now you don't have enough mats in order to do this. Early on, it won't matter as much, but when you get into the later levels, like 60, 70, 80, it definitely will matter. And for those who have played Genshin Impact, I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You just want to mainly focus on which characters you are going to use. Just because we're getting like all our free-to-play characters does not mean necessarily that you have to level up all of them. It just matters which ones you actually really want to use or intend to use. And I would recommend leveling them up first. If you're skeptical on leveling up a character, I would just recommend maybe looking up the character or just looking into their kit and seeing if that's something you'd be interested in. But just be resourceful with your materials. You will be able to grind for materials, of course, pretty early on, but it would be better if, you guys already just have the materials ready rather than having to use Trailblazer power on materials that's like, oh, I could have already had this material had I not wasted it on multiple other characters that I'm not currently using. But ultimately, it just depends on what you guys deem as, I guess, which characters you want to use. That's all it really matters. If you want to use them, level them up. If you're not sure, maybe just wait on it. Additionally, if you are enjoying this video so far and I am helping you out, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Let's carry on. Speaking of free-to-play characters, the free-to-play characters are actually pretty good in this game. I would highly recommend that you do invest into them if you are interested in any of them. Some of the best ones in my opinion would be March 7th and Natasha, because they'll be able to provide a lot of sustainability for your teams, and I do go over this in my team building video, which you guys will be able to see pretty soon as well. But those two characters are really good free-to-play options, and once again, I would highly recommend it. With the free-to-play options, we do get all the elements except for imaginary, which enemies will typically have 3 weaknesses or more, which means you'll always be able to have that super effective type advantage against enemies, which is really good for breaking that toughness meter. As we all know, toughness meter is that white bar above an enemy's health bar, and being able to break that as soon as possible would be really beneficial and make your battles way easier in the game. So I would definitely recommend look into those free-to-play characters, see which ones you like. Another tip I can give regarding characters in general is that characters can equip any light cone, which may throw you guys off because in games like Genshin, you can only equip a weapon that basically works for your character, like a corresponding weapon. Like for example, Ganyu uses a bow. If you have the Amos bow or any of the bows, you equipped it on Ganyu. You can't equip a sword on Ganyu. That would be pretty cool, but we can't do that. But in this game, any character can equip any light cone which may tempt, players to equip any light cone on a random unit, like a 5-star light cone. But I do not recommend this because the light cone's passive effects, like basically the bonuses you get from that particular light cone, will only work if the character is a corresponding path. For example, the MC, the physical MC, is the destruction path, which means that they can't use a 5-star light cone like Cruising in the Stellar Sea. That's a light cone you get through grinding in the game, and it's a hunt light cone, a hunt classified light cone, which means it can work on characters like Sealy, Yingqing, Shushang, and those types of characters, but it will not work on destruction class characters. You can put it on to get, I guess, the substats bonus or just the stat bonuses of the light cone, but you won't be able to take advantage of that passive of the light cone. So it kind of makes that light cone a waste in a way, unless you just really want those stats. But I would just recommend always using a light cone for the corresponding character. I remember when I played the CBT3, I was equipping any light cone because I was like, oh, I can just equip anything. But then I realized it told me, oh, you actually cannot use the passive effects because it's not the corresponding path. So a good thing to know is just look at what path your character is and look at what paths the weapons that you have, or rather the light cones you have, are, in order to, make sure you get that passive bonus, because the passives in the light cones are really good. Like even some of the 3-star light cones, they're really good. 4-star light cones really good. 5-star light cones really good as well. There's a lot of options for what you can use on your characters, which is awesome. Last tip I have is don't be scared to farm in the start. The reason why I say this is because let's just say you're looking at the relic sets. I know a lot of people are going to wait until they're around level 40 to 49, possibly even 50, to start grinding for relics, because that's when you can start to unlock the 5-star relics, which is basically the equilibrium 3 of the game. Players can start getting 5-star relics, but you're not guaranteed, which means you will have to wait quite a while if you want to farm relics once the 5-star drops are available. So personally, I wouldn't recommend like going all in on relic farming, but I would recommend, getting some little starter relic sets. Let's say you have Sealy, and she's really good with the set Genius of the Brilliant Stars because it's really good for quantum characters. Even if you don't have 5 stars unlocked yet, I still would recommend farming a little bit, just a little bit, for the 4-star set, just so you guys have that benefit, the bonus from that set. You don't need like really good substats. You don't need those end game like substats, main stats, whatever. I would just recommend going for them just to have those bonuses, because those bonuses will definitely make a difference in battles and definitely increase how much damage output you're doing. It's like if you're thinking about Genshin and you have a character with no artifacts versus 4-star artifacts like maxed out level or whatever. The 4-star artifacts will still make a difference, even if you're not having those 5-star artifacts just yet. The same will apply to relics, and especially because this game is turn-based and the enemy will always be able to attack unless you basically beat them within a turn, which typically does not happen, then you'll definitely want to have some form of relics on your characters just so you can take advantage of it. But once you are that later Trailblazer level in the Equilibrium 3 and you can get 5-star relics, that's where I would recommend, okay, now it's grind time for those relics to get those really good stats. But yeah, guys, that'll be it for my tips on the game. There's general tips about the free-to-play characters, how the light cones work, that you want to do a corresponding path, don't convert your Jade to standard tickets, be resourceful with your materials, and of course, don't be too scared to farm. It's not necessarily a bad thing to just do a little bit of early farming just so your characters are still on top of it when it comes to the content you do have to face in the game until you get to that point. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button for more StarL content. I will be releasing a lot of videos this week, basically guides on practically everything you need to know about this game. And I hope you all have a nice one. Peace.